On manual handling, manual handling can be with people, so moving a person. Manual handling can also be moving an object. So we would be talking about what the position of the carers, because we have lots of carers here as well who are looking after someone who is disabled. We have therapists who would at some point be doing moving and handling of their patients. So it's two ways how to look after your own posture so that you don't have any injuries, and how to make the person you are moving safe and comfortable. So this is the session aimed at. I'm going to just go through some slides. After that, we'll have a demo here, and we would like to have some volunteers who are patients and having hands-on practice, because that's most important when you try it yourself. We would be doing transfers, how to do transfer a person from bed to a wheelchair. Unfortunately, this bed doesn't come down, doesn't lower enough to match the height of a wheelchair or anywhere near the height of the wheelchair. So we will have to go downstairs after we've done most of the things that are needed to be done. So we'll go downstairs, next to the lift there is an area. We have a bed there, and hopefully that bed can be lowered down to wheelchair height. So just to let you know, we'll be making our way down just before lunch and do the slide board transfers there. Okay, so okay, so how many of you are familiar with the term functional transfers or transfers? Some of them, yeah. How do you use that? When do you have to use this technique? So you transfer patients from wheelchair to?
I suppose in the OT department you have a chair, from wheelchair to the chair, or from a wheelchair to the couch.
Oh, and what problems have you had? Do you physically lift them?
Physically, yes, but with technique.
With technique. What problems? Do you have any problems? It's quite easy. What if the person is big and heavy? Can't do much. You will lift. You will lift because you are big. What about here?
How will I move you?
What about here then? Have you lifted patients?
Yes, we need more professionals or carers
To help. And that's from patient's side. So you are a therapist. What about someone you're caring for? You do. And what problems do you face when you have to move the person you are looking after? Well, you don't know whether you're doing the right thing. Do you ever get any pain, or do you hurt yourself sometimes? Back pain, right? Shoulder pain. 76% of the people who are caring for someone have got back pain worldwide. So everyone needs to be very aware that how to protect yourself. We do have duty of care to the person we're looking after, but we also have to look after ourselves, because there is a life ahead of us, and we have to continue. At some point, we don't want to lose our own independence, so we have to be careful right from the beginning. Okay, so proper technique is very important. First is technique, second is your own posture, third is the environment, which we are very well aware. The challenges of the environment. By environment, I mean is the surface you're going to transfer the person from, the wheelchair or wherever you're going to transfer the person to. We can have the challenge straight away, the bed doesn't go down. And when we were doing the other manual handling acute, everybody was leaning over, right? So we'll try to just problem solve. Let's understand the principles first, and then we'll try to problem solve what can be done. So,
Yeah.
in the car?
Show you that.
Yeah.
I'll show you
We'll show the basic techniques, and then functional transfer means any function you have to put the person in the car. It could be on a sofa, right? So the technique remains, the principles remain same. You modify it according to the situation. Yeah, yes, that's right. So first of all, think, what are you lifting? Plan the movement. Is the person too heavy? Can I do it myself? Do I need someone to help me? Those are the questions you must ask, right? We have looked at, in our visits, we have seen individuals who are quite big, and there is one carer just about trying to do the thing right, and it is not because he's hurting himself, it's just pulling the person to ask, am I the right person? First of all, am I fit enough to do it? Do I need someone to help me, right? Then position of yourself. So I'm just going to come around here and talk about. So I hope I'm loud enough for people at the back, right? So if you look at your own spine, it's like an S, right? And we try, wherever we can, we try to maintain that shape of S, okay? Not bending too much, which all of us do it anyways when we're lifting a load, so it's not always practical to remember the principle. But when you are actually doing a manual handling of a person or a big load, think about protecting your back, keeping the back, the curves of the back as they are. You know, don't overstretch those curves. Use the stronger joints. Which are our stronger joints? Everybody is, you know, instinctively going, yes, the legs are stronger, right? Use the hip and the knee. And if you have to bend, there is no other way. Just go down your hip and your knee. So you're maintaining your trunk. Other movement that we want to stop at most of the time is this movement. We say rotation, which puts our own back at a very much risk. So we want to avoid that movement, right? So what we do is turn around. Okay, don't do that. So a lot of heads are nodding. So it just seems like all of you have been doing that, right? And then there is a bill to pay at the end. You would end up with back pain, right? So we had one situation where you could not climb up. So the practical tips, have a little step. So think about those little practical solutions, okay? So when you're moving a person, sorry, when you're moving a person, and for me it's okay, the surface is at my waist level, not too low. This is where you want to be working, so that you're not stooping too much, you're not overreaching. Overreaching means you're putting your back at the bend and then you're reaching far forward. And this is a little biomechanical principle. The further load is away from you, what happens is it gets 10 times more on your back. It feels 10 times more on your back. So keep the load close to you. When you move it, we will do that practically, but just so you know, using hips and knees, use the right shoe. How many of you are in the right shoe wear today? Most of. Yeah, you're very good. But when you're lifting, and if you have a slip-on, it's a risk that you may lose your slipper, and in just a bit to save your slipper, you may put yourself. Yeah, you have faced these problems, right? If you have heels on, you know, this is where you are, and now you want to be doing the load. So footwear, it's a little thing. You want to have wide base of support because you want to be stable, right? So we will, how you make that wide base, we will talk about it when we're actually doing the technique. But it's a little technique I picked up from Tai Chi. I don't do Tai Chi, but this was a technique I picked up, which means is that you have wide base, you tuck your tummy muscles in, brace. Does anybody do Kung Fu, Karate, Tai Chi? No? But take a deep breath and brace. You do. Then you must come here and practice it with me. When you brace it, you can feel your tummy being really solid, right? That's where you are recruiting your abdominals, your tummy muscles. Now I'm in a good position to free up my arm and start moving. So this brace position was something I picked up, which has helped me. Yeah. Brace, yes. I am tiny, but I have to. That's not no excuse not to move the patient because you are tiny.
Quite lots of therapists working in neuro rehab are quite little.
Tetraplegics, person who completely, they're heavy, they are completely dependent. So we find ways. So, and there are ways. So we're going to be going through all that now. Okay. So first of all, this whole maneuver is when the person is stable,
Yes.
spine is stable. Now they are ready for rehab. We are not worried about keeping the spine not to move the spine. Okay. So first of all is turning in the bed, and how to facilitate the turning, how to make the person understand their own abilities, and how to encourage them to do that. Okay. So, we would ideally say that this is done by two persons, but if not, then
Shove the shit out of hands.
yeah.
I'll be a good patient by myself.
So turning a person in the bed, right? So give it to the patient. Enabling the patient, engaging the patient. Right. So what I tend to do when I have to turn a person is I am just beside the pelvis of the person. Okay? This is the most stable place. And if you turn the person and something goes wrong, pelvis is a key place to get the person back. Alright? I'm going to turn Sue towards me. Here the idea is that she was able to do a little bit for herself. So I'm going to get her in a position and she was able to hold that position. So you're talking about somebody who's got one-side weakness, not spinal just yet, okay? So I am going to come to the other side. I'm going to ask her to bend her hip and her knee, okay? And if you can hold it there, please. So Sue is weak on her right side, okay? And now I'm going to ask Sue to turn towards me. Turn your head first. Wherever head goes, the body follows. It's an instinctive thing, okay? Turn your head first. Bring your arm over, Sue, okay? Reach. You can say anything. On the wall, that really works. Because this is something which is natural in us. If we reach, this is a task, that's an end goal I want to do, and my whole body will listen to me, okay? So reach for the wall opposite. I'm going to just facilitate. Look at my own position. Look at where my feet are. It's a wide base. My trunk, my hips and knees. I would bend here, and I am using the brace position. Okay. So I'm going to get her, my hand just behind Sue's shoulder, and then we're going to turn towards me. Right. So for me, it works well that I'm here because if Sue overturns. Sorry, I won't let you go. I am here, I can use my body. I'm going to just roll her back. Okay, so it's always good to be somewhere here, not here, because if something goes wrong, you're not in an advantageous position to turn her. Okay? Or not here, because they're lung levers, the legs are going to come down. So somewhere in the middle. Okay? So that's turning in the bed.
Should we show the patient who's going to go to turn themselves?
Now, yes.
So if I was going to turn myself, and if I've got my arms, I can use, but not my legs, then I could learn to cross my legs and then roll myself using my momentum and my hand reach.
So you've got the rails on the beds. All of the beds we've seen have got rails, right? So use the rails. If I can get it to, lock in one position.
So we do leg up, cross over.
This,
And then
she can hold the rail and get herself over. So ask the person to get involved because this is what the person can do for himself. You don't have to cook.
if I was a higher level injury, I would teach them to start learning with a pillow tucked under, okay? And they wouldn't have their legs crossed because they wouldn't be able to reach, grab the legs to cross, so I'd be like this. And we teach them to use momentum to pull themselves over like this.
Do you use this technique? Yeah? No. So a high level patient, but like a paraplegic,
C5, C5
they
down.
would be able to do that.
So it's shoulder back, across. So flat.
Okay. And if you, in the beginning when you're teaching them, you cross the leg just to ease it. And at some point, after practice or use of the props, they're able to turn. So we teach that.
And they take 2 or 3 goes. There we go. There.
Right? So that's turning in the bed. You want to have a go?
At home, say we don't have the power.
Uh-huh.
Once you turn, you go very near to the edge. How can we help get the patient right?
That is a very good question. That is positioning in the beginning. So we make sure that if I am turning Sue towards me, Sue needs to go slightly over to the other side, not at the edge. That is planning beforehand. So even in the we would come to the use of, if the person cannot do anything for himself, how to then still move the person in the bed. But your question is very good. They could come right at the edge. So just making sure before you start this maneuver, then slightly to the other side, so there's room to turn. Okay.
Yeah. Did anyone want to have a go at that technique?
Shall we have volunteers to see and have a go at turning?
Everyone's happy or not?
It's okay. If the person cannot actually move at all, is a highly dependent person, then there's something called a slide sheet that we use to get the person up and down the bed with the side of the bed. Are you familiar with that?
Right, let's get that in.
Okay then.
Whilst we're just getting that, I just want to show you a little trick to show your patients how to get themselves up from lying down. Okay, so this is for a paraplegic to learn how to get themselves up. Rather than trying to teach them to do this, are you with me?
Yes.
Rather than straining your shoulders like this and asking your patients to do that, which is really quite aggressive on their shoulders, teach them a technique to do their rollover. They can use anything they like to pull over with. They can have a strap tied on the side of their bed or anything they want. Get themselves on their side, elbow up by their ear. This hand, push down. This hand here, push up. Walk your hands round. Link under. Keep, because they'll fall backwards. Keep linking under. Come up. Ready to do their dressing. Get themselves a rest. Okay, so rather than encourage this back push, which is really aggressive movement of shoulders and will eventually cause shoulder pain, go onto your side. So it's really easy. It's a side roll. Elbow by your ear. Push down, forwards. Push up, walk round, hand under, hold. Stay there, keep coming around. Ready to get my dressing.
And if they can't do it themselves, this isn't very, you've taught them, now they're able to do it, but if they can't do it themselves, but they have arms to support, then you can get the person in side lying, as you did. This bed, the headrest can go up. If you have that facility, use that facility. I'll just show you. Okay. And it's easier for the person then to come from this. You could start from here, and then as a therapist, you grade it, give them more challenge, get the bed down, so that eventually they can come from flat bed. If they are not yet there, so you can go side. And if you have to sit the person up, what you can do as a carer or a person who is teaching, you can get the legs underneath the edge. Get the legs right at the edge. So now it's a small lever to get her up. And she can push, right? So we will, as I said, early engagement to get her to use arm, but she's not strong enough to come still up. So what we would do is, you put one hand here, pressing the pelvis down like this, one hand under the shoulder, and just guide that knee. She's got arm, but she doesn't have that strength. Okay, so get the legs down, and again your position is against the pelvis, so the person doesn't roll over. Okay, you can have two people, one managing the legs and the other one is behind the legs. So you are still giving them work, little bit. They're not completely dependent. They're participating, but you're also looking after this. Okay, slide sheet.
back flat again.
Yeah. So,
Should we have a model?
yeah, I think
Do
so.
the two of us. So
Could
we
I-
have a body,
one-
the patient, somebody to lie on the bed and be moved. Every time.
Have you come across something like this? No? It's a sliding sheet. Basically, it's a sliding material, which is not rough for the skin, it's good enough for the skin, but it's sliding on its own.
It's like a soft sail, if anyone goes sailing. Like soft sail sheets on sails. And there's a lot of materials even out there you could use that isn't this proper sliding sheets that are pretty similar that do the same job.
We call these sliding sheets, they come in different sizes. Neuram has started to make some slide sheets. So if you are interested to speak to one of us, where you can get them from. But we use them every day. Because as I said, we have to move our patients. Slide sheets are used not to lift patients. The idea is you do not lift patients. It is to slide them, okay? But there's a technique to get the slide sheet under. And you don't ever leave the slide sheet under the person, because if you feel the material or any material of the slide sheet, it's not a breathable material. There's another one. Just and what do you think might happen to the skin if you leave it on under the person?
Yeah, sweating.
Moist, yes, and you will get pressure sore. Yeah? So you don't leave. There are types that you can leave under a person, but these aren't, and they're very special ones. We're going to go up and down and slide. Yeah. So up and down. So are you? No, it's okay. This is your sister, huh?
Yeah, round the side, yeah. So edge of the leg. Yeah, go on the side, put the legs over. It's so much easier. You should, well, that's it.
I'm going to give the other one. Demonstrate. Use this. So this is practical. This is for you all. So I would really appreciate if you want to come around and have a go yourself. It just is a quick learning if you tried it. Yeah.
Okay.
So first of all, how are you going to put the slide sheet under a person who's in bed? Align the position.
Rolling.
Rolling. Any other suggestion?
Two ways of doing it.
And then
Right, okay. You could roll the person. Yes, turn. And then you can
Tuck it under. Roll it back and tuck it under.
yeah, you can
That's
do that.
certainly one way.
We can show you that, okay? And that's why I showed the turning part. It's important.
So you fold it, fold the long ways. Yeah. There we go, tuck it just under.
So I have folded it into half because ideally we say two people do this movement. One person will end up pulling. So it's two people. So we turned it, rolled it, half is under her that the other person is going to pull out.
That's fine.
Okay? we want to do is shifting yourself with the slide sheet. So we're not doing that. We're not doing this. Remember, we want to keep the trunk in the best position as possible. If your feet face the way your horse is going to be, it's easier on your back. It's better for your hips and knees. So, and you're using your own body weight. So this is what we would be doing is this. So I'm shifting my weight from my back foot to the front foot. I'm not doing this. I am not doing that. Okay? We're going to go down and clear instructions between the other person. He may or she may be ready to do it, and the other one is not. So you, again, it's counterproductive. So talk when we are ready, or what we are doing. Explain to the person what are we doing. You will experience it. If we don't tell you what we're going to do, you're going to be really nervous and always be at the edge. I don't know what's coming next. So talk to the person. I have put this under you. We're going to move you down the bed. I'm going to do that slowly. So reassure the person. Now,
Top layer. Just the top layer moving, not the bottom layer.
so I want to move the person down. Force is that way. I transfer my weight. So I'm ready. I'm facing this side. Okay? And we go. Ready, steady, go. And go we move. Okay? Ready, steady, go. Right? We have not lifted. We just lift the person. Okay? We're going to get her up and then to the sides, and then you guys can have a go. Our feet up. Alright? Are you okay? Take me off the pillow. Alright then. Ready, steady, go. That is communication. Right? And that's what can go wrong. The other one has already reached. Right? Okay. I'm ready, steady, go. Ready, steady. Right. Have you had this problem? Have you faced this problem where you have to move the person up? You have. How do you do it? By heads. And then
Is it worth showing that folding trick? Put it underneath the way. Just show you a very simple trick. Just slide this out. You take it. And I have to get this right, otherwise it's the wrong way around. Like that. So you concertina it, like that. Okay. Okay. And you start at head end. So if you're on your own, okay, you slide this underneath your shoulders here. You need to get this right under your shoulders. There. And then what you do is you keep sliding down on your own this way, and it should just start to come down on its own. Now, obviously, if you've got anyone with vulnerable skin, you've got to be more careful. But because you're pulling the top layer all the time, you can just work. You can work on your own if you had to, just by sliding down and sliding down. As it undoes itself, that's it. It shouldn't get in the way. And this one will continue to come. More. This doesn't slide as well as it can. Okay, but you can get it underneath somebody's bottom, so you can move them on your own. So if I needed to, I could by myself now, just like by myself.
and she's nervous because she thinks she's going to fall off, and that's what your patients are going to be. They are going to be so nervous when you move them. Right, let's bring it back down.
So if you had to do it by yourself, you can, just by folding it concertina and just bringing it down.
So this is a full body sling. You could have smaller slide sheets. I think there was one going around. That one, yeah. So taking the slide sheet off as well, don't pull it because you've seen the material, it could damage the skin. You get your hand under the underlayer, and then you gently pull it. The top layer is as it is, and it is the underlayer that I'm pulling. Sorry, it's too long for her. So we're going to show you the other one. You just gently pull the bottom there.
So you're never tearing against the skin.
You have to be mindful of those principles that we talked about. She's very good. She's listing herself. Right. So this is an easier one because that it will just cover part of the body, not the full body. And this is for a person who's not so disabled, they've got arm, but they're still, when they're maybe slightly unwell, they don't want to move a little bit. This is just to assist you. So you could get a slide sheet of the part which is heavy. And you could do this. You can tuck it right under. Okay? So this can again be used by moving the person.
Just to move them a little bit on your own.
Okay, to the side. Do you want to try it? Have a feel of what is it like being on a slide sheet?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah? Yeah. Who wants to come along and slide sheet? Right. Okay, who's going to be a model? I'll come. Right. Need one more person to come and assist?
Someone
Be alive.
Do we have someone who wants to try the slide sheet? That's easy. Okay, we've got some volunteers. We could have more. The more people want to come and have a go, better it is.
It's a good idea to just practice.
Yeah. Did you want to be stood up? Did you want to come on? Come on. Yeah. So you could, yeah, that's okay. You can then start the third. Yeah, you can bend the legs to make it easier for you. So see, if you place the feet on the slide sheet, it's going to slide. So be careful not to place feet on the slide sheet. And now help in bending, and then somebody can pull them to knee so it's the legs slide sheet. Further up. This is a very independent person, so you want to do both sides, okay? And then you hold this. Where is the patient being turned to? So what do you tell the person? Look that side, just look this side. Reach your arm at the edge of the bed, and then you and look at it. What about feet? What about trunk? And then you get right under.
So, use of sliding sheets has completely revolutionised the way we do all our moving and handling in the UK. So nobody's moved without sliding sheets. Everyone's moved with sliding sheets. We use sliding sheets to position people in wheelchairs. The small one, we're going to show you that later. So putting the small sheet under them, then we'll use the sliding sheet to bring them back in the wheelchair, so they're sitting properly, and then we take the bottom and pull it out and take it out the back of the wheelchair.
You would have avoided this.
So no more waking people around in wheelchairs.
Yeah.
Nobody needs to do that. Patients don't need to lift themselves. We just use the sliding sheet, you can put side to side, backwards and forwards. And on the bed it's the same. So we just don't use anything else. As a therapist, they're great to use them for exercises as well, for doing leg exercises where they're weak. So if somebody's weak, we can get them to slide their leg on the bed on the sliding sheet. Use it for exercises as well.
One person that may be weak, you just support with the head, just support, because you know that will happen, right? No, you don't have to, just go. One is just there to just support you. And you're not lifting. What do you want to do? Team decide. You want to bring her down or up?
Down and
Down. Christine says down. Christine is saying up. I don't know what's going to happen.
Go down first and then
Sits.
1, 2, 3, slide.
perfect.
You're too many. I would like only 2 people to try and see, because that is the purpose of the slide. Just 2 people to
Swap
try.
it in a minute. Just do
2 at a time. Two at a time.
Just do 2. So you two stay away for a minute, come away for a minute, and you have a go in a minute. Okay, just you two.
So you're not lifting. It's this way, because if you keep your hand this way, instinctively you want to lift.
Roll it and make a good grip on the material, so you don't want to rip through it to get a good grip on it.
Yeah. You are in a good position. What about you? Listen to the patient.
That's it? Yeah, that's it. So if you roll it and turn this foot, face this way. Okay, and you're going to move your body in this direction, this way. Okay?
1, 2, 3.
Perfect.
Well done.
Good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Good.
Does that feel easier?
2 more to come and move her back.
Yeah.
The 2 that just sat down, come back. Come and move her back. One more go.
Good patient.
Well, if they can.
If they
I mean,
can.
this doesn't matter. If they can move their arms out of your way, absolutely. If they can
Yeah.
fold their arms out of the way, that'd be great. Yeah. Okay, get a good grip. Top layer. This way. Okay, so you tried to pull up a little bit. So when you did it, you were lifting a wee bit. So it's more of a downwards. Yeah, try going back. That's it. Okay?
Right. Okay.
But if we are alone,
On your own?
yeah.
Okay, so you'd have to do it slowly. Stay there. Okay, bumps on my own. Bumps on my own. I'd have to do it slowly. And if I wanted to move her, I probably wouldn't have to move her very far in the bed. Maybe she'd slid down. I wanted to move her a little bit. I would come here and I would just do it by myself very slowly. And I just do this side first.
It's a struggle.
It's a bit hard, but you can. And then come to this side. And I've moved her up. I only wanted to move her that far. So it's harder on your own, but you could. It depends on how strong you are, but.
Okay. We can move on to the next. Oh, we have done short circuit. What happened? I don't know. I don't think I have a slide. This is.
Just to let you know that these materials will be available at the Neuram. We have our workshop, in fact it's not ours, Magic Fingers, at QP, Bonavali building, next to St. Helena Church. They will be on sale there. And tomorrow, in the conference, the ladies of Magic Fingers, which is another NGO assisting the Neuram working with Neuram Foundation, is doing the cushions which you have seen on the back. I don't see them now, but yeah, they're on display here. These are also on sale, And if you need to order, you can contact us on our hotline, which is, as you know, on the website of neuram.org, or directly at Magic Fingers Association. The sliding sheets are now going to be manufactured, but if you want to place orders, we can then deliver to you.
Where is Magic Fingers?
Magic Fingers is at QP, Bonomali building, next to St. Helena Church. But you can order from us from the hotline, and we'll pass the word to Magic Fingers Association.
I just wanted to say one thing about the slide sheets as well. What we do in the UK is that each patient with spinal cord injury would have their own slide sheet. All right, it's part of the equipment that every spinal cord injury patient would have, and they're washable and everything. So it's a key, very simple piece of equipment that's so helpful, not only for the staff but the patients as well. So really important. Oh, is it?